Hello, good evening, and welcome. I'm John Lazarus with Stories Matter and D&E Publishing. The holiday season means different things for different people. For some, it's a time of reflection, to make resolutions and promise to stick to only clear liquors from now on. For others, it's a time of sorrow, knowing that your family will call your bluff this time when you say you're going to kill yourself. For me, it's a time for list making. Not gift lists, mind you. My 3 wives made me stop giving my children gifts after some of the knockoff Furbies I bought one year started several small fires. No, it's a time for year-end lists, when I can share the best things I experienced in 2024. Fans can go to my blog to read about the best movies, albums, and brothels I discovered this year, but to keep this video relevant to the channel, we're just going to focus on books. This list will contain some 2024 releases, some classics I haven't got around to, and a lot of books that landed on the D&E label that I think all viewers should consider checking out. We're going to show off and make others feel borderline illiterate on this edition of Stories Matter. Today's video is brought to you by the Public Library Association. A public library is the heart of every community. It's a place where children of all backgrounds can develop a love of literature, a place where homeless and non-homeless alike can apply for jobs and secretly download pornography, a place where an up-and-coming author can sneak his books on the staff recommends displays. PLA advocates for protection of these public spaces, especially in response to threats by groups like Moms for Liberty, who claim kids will start cutting their dicks off when they read about gay people. As someone who has written hundreds of books about all types of people for children, teens, and adults, only one of my readers has ever cut his genitals off as a result. Please click the link to find out how you can support the PLA. Now, I'm going to start this list with a book I had never heard of, but that was brought to my attention by a former writing partner. Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov tells the story of Humbert Humbert, a French expatriate and literature professor living in New England who falls in love and kidnaps the titular 12-year-old girl. I found this book to be one of literature's finest examples of an unreliable narrator, a witty send-up of American culture, and a sharp exploration on the nature of obsession. Nabokov's prose is a delight, verbose, lyrical, and enviably clever. It's just a shame the man who recommended the book to me ended up going to prison and getting killed there. R.F. Kuang's Yellowface came out at the tail end of last year, but I didn't get around to it until 2024. Yellowface starts with its narrator watching a fellow author die, stealing her manuscript, and publishing it under her own name. So this was a book I could relate to on a personal level, and seemed almost specifically written for me. But beyond being an exploration of what authorship means and satirizing the publishing landscape of the current era, R.F. Kuang offers a brilliant critique of how social media is unfair to white authors like myself. Here's another book I hadn't heard of until recently. I always felt graphic novels were for children and grown men who couldn't grow beards but tried anyway. I still think that, but it didn't ruin my appreciation of Watchmen, a multifaceted deconstruction of the superhero genre that I probably shouldn't have read to my 7-year-old son. If you had to pick one book this year that I won't personally profit from, make it Miranda July's All Fours. Centered on a middle-aged woman who abandons her family for a love affair, this was another book that I felt was written personally for me. July's writing blends sex with humor in a way that I haven't seen since Porky's 2. Now, many readers might find the main character to be immature, sex-obsessed, impulsive, and hyper-privileged, but I would counter that describes 90% of people who attend book clubs, so it's definitely a work that encourages self-reflection. Reagan, an icon as synonymous with the 80s as Tawny Kitaen and C. Thomas Howell. Now, I'm not the most political person, and I probably fall somewhere in the middle of the political spectrum. On the one hand, I think trans women are women, trans men are men. But on the other, I think it's ridiculous that the state of New York won't allow me to bring a few loaded pistols into a bookstore to protect myself at a book signing. Anyway, no matter how you feel about the guy who ignored the AIDS epidemic but also looked good on camera, this is a must-read. Now we're going to look at some D&E publishing titles I love this year. If I had to choose one avant-garde book to pick this year, it would be I Hope You Fucking Die, a book by Anonymous released last May on D&E Publishing. Composed of nothing more than threatening tweets I've received over the past decade, the book was sent to our offices in an unmarked package. While some might have called their lawyer or the bomb squad, I instead went ahead and published it anyway. One reviewer called it a fascinating examination of a deranged mind, and while they seem to be incorrectly referring to me, I couldn't agree more. The End of Us was one of the best thrillers I read all year. A harrowing account of a man who decides to kill his whole family, I was over the moon that Robin Fletcher decided to publish with D&E. Unfortunately, the deal fell through when police discovered the book was a confession and Robin actually had killed his whole family. Bandcamp was the best young adult story I read in 2024. This coming-of-age story about a young immigrant from Iran who develops an unexpected friendship at the titular setting was moving and had wonderful insight into what it means to be an outsider. Unfortunately, D&E didn't end up publishing this book either because author Daphne Lawton also killed her whole family. But the best book I read this year had to be my own, Glossolalia and Other Stories, available now on Amazon. Unlike all of the other books on this list, this book never felt like a chore to read. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll leave you with this week's This Day in Literary History. See you on the next one. Just as a reminder, my latest novel, Glossolalia and Other Stories, is now available on Amazon. Unlike most of what you see on these videos, this is a real book. Find the link in the video description.